What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Badly content. This video is going to be all about an Ultra League safe swap that you've probably found out already by clicking on the thumbnail, but that's okay, because our Pokemon that we're going to be focusing on today is Lickilicky. Yes, it is an XL Pokemon. The Ultra League is full of them. I understand that not everybody is going to have access to XLs, but hopefully maybe you were like me. Maybe you were stashing a bunch of XL candy away for building a Lickitung for Great League, and now that it's been nerfed, you want to build a Lickilicky for Ultra League, and I would say it's 120% worth it. Now, Lickilicky is a safe swap, kind of generic sort of Pokemon, so you could fit any core. I really wanted to bring back my Shadow Drifblim in this Ultra League meta. I liked it in the Great League, and I think it is even better here in the Ultra League, as it's got great coverage and does very well into most of the meta. And then we've also got Virizion. As in the last video, we ran Cobalion. I think Virizion is a solid response to other Cobalions as it starts to kind of pick up speed, and I'm running it with Sacred Sword and Leaf Blade. You could also run it with Stone Edge if you want to, but I personally prefer having both same type attack bonus moves. Drifblim and Virizion make a very strong core, but you could put Lickilicky with any other really strong core you like. That's just kind of how it works. So let's get into these games here as we play in the Ultra League a couple of sets. Again, we went 8-2 with this team as well in this meta. So we're going to see a Tapu Fini on the lead, and I'm immediately going to pivot over here into my Lickilicky. I can throw 4 rollouts because that would basically get me right on par with them being in a surf here. But they're going to go for the Nature's Madness, so I wanted to throw the move before they got there because that would allow me to desync the switch timers a little bit. What I'm hopefully going to do at this point is get my Virizion on this Fini at some point, but the opponent is not swapping out. Also, one of the secret sauce bits about Lickilicky here is Earthquake, and they're going to see why as we get further into this video. But look at the bulk. We've already taken a Nature's Madness, but Lickilicky is just flinging off body slams like nobody's business, and the opponent finally decides to swap out. Look how much damage those rollouts are doing. My opponent did not have a solid response to roll out Lickilicky as they bring in a Charizard here, hoping to go for a move. I'm going to go ahead and go for good timing here. They throw a move before I get there, and honestly, that's fine with me. I'm going to go ahead and come back in with my Drifblim here, and at this point, Drifblim is looking very solid as they're going to be able to get to a move I expect before I'm able to farm down. If this is a Blast Burn or Dragon Claw, doesn't matter. They're going to get taken out by this Astonish. It is the Blast Burn, but we're down a shield. The opponent now comes in with the Tapu Fini, and they're able to get to a move. At this point, I'm going to shield, because if they stay in, or regardless, I can debuff the next thing that comes in, and it's a Giratina or Altered. So this is going to be tough because, right, they have the Shadow Claw damage that they need to do super effective to my Drifblim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get very close to a move, but I'm going to swap out before they could get to a potential Ancient Power or Shadow Sneak, and they're going for Shadow Sneak. So here's the thing, right? When it comes to Giratina, normally they have Dragon Claw and either Shadow Sneak or Ancient Power. This trainer is going to be throwing Shadow Sneak, and in general, you want to be throwing the Dragon Claw, but because they're throwing Shadow Sneak here, that tells me that there's a chance that maybe they actually don't have Dragon Claw, and they're running Ancient Power for coverage as well. And that's going to be evident when they throw another Shadow Sneak here. Even though Virizion does not do well in this matchup whatsoever, when I'm up a shield, and I'm also able to get the debuff on the opponent here, that means that even these Leaf Blades will eventually sort of chip through this Giratina, and we're going to be able to take this game. But yeah, they did not have an answer in any capacity to Lickilicky, which is why they had to stay in with the Tapu Fini. Lickilicky is able to resist all of the fast move pressure from the Giratina, and honestly, they didn't really have a good way to deal with Charizard because of that rollout damage. So I like Lickilicky. It's really strong. It's a very good core breaker as well if the opponent's not ready for it. They basically have to make a team that is ready for this thing, or it can quite literally roll out through their team. Good game to the opponent. All right, getting into the next battle, we got Clefable on the lead. I've been seeing a lot of these. I've even tried the Clefable lead myself. This is not a bad matchup, and here's the thing. If you get Swift baited, it feels so bad. However, most are running Meteor Mash still, and in my opinion, they should be. I think that Swift is just not a great move in the Ultra League for the fact that it's non-stab, does very little damage, and Meteor Mash coverage is really nice into opposing fairies. Like, Clefable has always been that one fairy that can beat the other fairies because of Meteor Mash. It even beats Galarian Weezing with Meteor Mash. It's really, really good with that move. Swift is definitely good for being a bait move, but that's, you know, something that I don't prefer to go for. Now, I'm finally going to unveil an Earthquake here, because what I want to do is I'm hoping they maybe think of throwing another Body Slam, but if we go for the Earthquake, one more Body Slam will KO here, and unless they're throwing Draco Meteor, and I don't even know, a Draco Meteor probably knocks out here, but if they're not throwing Draco Meteor, we're going to be able to either get a shield or take out this Goodra, and also we're going to be able to maintain switch advantage here. I needed to basically see if there was an answer in the back to my Virizion, and there's not. The reason why they came in with their Goodra is because Feraligatr doesn't have a good matchup into this thing, and that's why I like running Lickilicky, Miltank, stuff in the back that beats these Shadow Gator or even regular Gator save swaps, because Feraligatr really is at its worst when it can't farm. When it can't get that Shadow Claw farm down and convert its energy into damage in the next matchup. So, being able to prevent the opponent from doing that is honestly where I was trying to get to. Now, I, throughout this video, make several mistakes of the same exact variety. I keep throwing Sacred Swords when I should be throwing Leaf Blades. And that's due to my own, like, my brain for some reason is wired like that. Now, we gotta give him a kaboom for that one.
Boom!
However, Drifblim's getting this farm down and has so much energy, I don't even need to go for Shadow Ball at this point. I can just throw the Icy Winds here, get the shield. The opponent, hopefully, is not able to get to 2 moves here, and even if they do, I think the Icy Wind prevents a Hydro from knocking out, so they would have to be able to go for the Icy Wind here, or the Ice Beam here. And I'm going to get the Icy Wind off before they can get to their next move. That's going to be a good game. Well played to this opponent. Drifblim is overcoming those nasty things in the back. Getting into the next game, we got a Malamar on the lead. This is very tricky, honestly, because Superpower can damage the Licky, and Virizion does not appreciate dealing with this. I try to catch a foul play on my Licky, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do so. But the next best thing happens. My opponent throws a Superpower. We correctly shield the Superpower, and we can unleash a Body Slam that is getting to do more damage to the opponent, thanks to the debuff from the Superpower. And now, I don't care if they're throwing another Superpower at this point. It's debuffed. I don't need to worry about it. It's not a full power Superpower. And then the opponent is going to have to take another debuffed Body Slam here if they go for another Superpower. We just keep Charge Attack prioritying each other, but honestly, I'm okay with this. Like, the energy from Malamar Virizion doesn't matter so much, but the Psy Wave damage is what really kind of screws me up here. Now, I was thinking about going for the Earthquake. My opponent is giving me the chance to swap here now that my switch timer has come back up. So, I'm actually just going to throw a Shadow Ball. I don't throw a whole lot of Shadow Balls with Drifblim, to be honest. That Astonish damage hurts a lot. I've also considered maybe just running Icy Wind Mystical Fire, but we're going to get a farm down on this Tentacruel. Barely. I think they were just at unremove there. But this farm is going to be massive. The opponent is not going to enjoy coming in with anything here. They come in with a Dusknoir, and then they try to catch on the Malamar. We fully farm down. And what I should do is just throw 2 Shadow Balls and be done with it. But what I wanted to try to do here was go for the back-to-back Icy Wind Shadow Ball combo. But I decided to pivot away from that that plan as soon as they actually no-shield and call that bait. So very nice bait call by the opponent. Maybe they were probably just saying, you know what, if he Shadow Balls me here, it's over anyway. So let's call a bait. And honestly, that's a very strong way to win some games that may otherwise look like they're lost. Is just, you know what? Maybe take the gamble. Say, if this is a bait, then I win. And that's a very strong strategy to be able to make some comeback plays in a lot of games that maybe look kind of like not so great. But we're going to end up taking a Shadow Punch from the Drifblim. It doesn't, or the Drifblim, the Dusknoir. It doesn't even knock out. We come roll out with Lickilicky and we take it down. Good game. One of these days I'm going to build a Dusknoir. One of these days. But today is not that day as we get a Clefable lead in the next game. The opponent coming in with the Feraligatr, and the quicker I switch in my Virizion, the better here, because I don't want to give them too much energy head start. Them not being able to get to the Ice Beam before I'm able to get to this Leaf Blade allows me to not even have to shield an Ice Beam here. If they shield, I can shield back, but them not going for this Ice Beam, in a straight matchup in the zeros, I know I win this. I don't take a full 100% damage from my Ice Beam. I'm just going to go for a Leaf Blade on the Clefable for the road. They're not going to get a whole lot of farm here either, because these Fairy Winds are going to do quite a bit. Now, the reason why I didn't go for a double kick and then go for the Leaf Blade is because there's a chance that with the increased damage from the Fairy Winds that my Virizion was going to get farmed out without even getting to that move. Now, the opponent here is also running Meteor Mash again. I still think that Meteor Mash is definitely the way to go here in the Ultra League, but you know, I'm sure that there's as much a case for Swift as anything else, but now the opponent has given me a very, very strong win condition, even if I didn't just have Lickilicky in the back. Them also leaving this as their last Pokemon alive, meaning they can't clear debuffs anymore. I'm just gonna come straight in with my Lickilicky at this point. I think I could just roll out down at this point if I needed to. The Flame Charge barely even touches Lickilicky, and we're gonna get the opponent to concede. Good game. Okay, next game up here, we've got a Blastoise in the lead. I don't know if this is an XL Blastoise or just one that the opponent built, but I'm going to immediately switch in here to my Lickilicky to see if my opponent has a response, as I do have Virizion in the back, which would be a much better response to this Blastoise. So I'm hoping to make a play for some sort of alignment here, but the opponent is staying in with the Blastoise. And as with the Tapu Fini, I'm going to throw Body Slams here to basically make the switch clock desynced, so that hopefully by the time that they swap out, I can then realign my switch clock to theirs and be able to also put my Virizion on this Blastoise at some point. But the opponent also seems to just be committing to the Blastoise here and not really going for switch. I'm just not going to shield anything here, I don't think. I might switch. No, I don't shield anything here. We're going to be able to get one more Body Slam in before they're able to farm down. It was a very tight, very tight matchup. I was thinking about potentially just not shielding at all. We ended up letting it go, and the opponent has a Trevenant in the back. This is dangerous. My Drifloon is going to come in here. What the opponent has in the back is going to basically decide this fate of this game, as if they have a Trevenant in back, I don't know, maybe they have another Ghost that didn't want to see Lickilicky, or I don't know. But we're going to go for this Icy Wind. I'm going to try to pluck a shield off the opponent now, and they are going to be able to they're going to get me another move off here. I hate that I had to shield a Seed Bomb. I never see it coming, but like, the Seed Bomb would have done enough here, and unfortunately now I see what comes in, and it's a Venusaur, and I am within range of being taken out by even a Frenzy Plant at this point. Even with this debuff, I imagine they would probably get the chance to knock me out, so I was gonna try to catch a move and hope that I could bank the energy and leave, but the opponent gets the Frenzy Plant off, and even with that debuff, it's not enough. And now it's all gonna come down to the Sacred Sword spam versus this Venusaur, and if the Sludge Bombs are going to be enough to two-shot me from the range that I'm at. So I'm just going to keep firing off my Sacred Swords. The opponent is almost at 2 moves here. My only win condition is that I somehow survive the onslaught of 2 moves and get to a Sacred Sword. The opponent throwing 1 and then the move. Very nice timing here by them to finish up. They're going to go for the Sludge Bomb, and I see here that it does more than 50% of what I've got left. They're able to get to a second move. If this is Frenzy Plant, we win. If this is Sludge Bomb, we lose. And it's a Sludge Bomb, and Virizion's going to go down. And very good, well played to the opponent. Good game, well played. We're picking up a 4-1 here and moving into the next game. Drifloon and Ampharos, not a lead I want to see here, so I'm going to swap immediately into the Lickilicky and see what we can make happen here. My opponent hopefully decides to, well, hopefully I was going to say they're going to stay and hopefully let me go for an Earthquake, but now I'm going for the Earthquake regardless. Does the opponent respect it? They do not, and this is huge. The Earthquake is sometimes, like, when you draw out a Drapion, a Poison, or if you draw out a Cobalion, like a Steel type, this is going to allow you to do super effective damage and now put more pressure. The opponent decides not to shield here, and they're going to find out that giving me switch advantage was not a good idea, especially if they're running Brutal Swing and Thunder Punch, which is all resisted by Virizion. I'm going to let this go. We're going to just do as much chip damage as we can. Psych, I was actually thinking in this game I was reaching for the Earthquake here. The opponent goes for the move instead of the farm down, and I'm able to put Virizion on this thing, and the opponent is going to concede. I guess whatever they had in the back was probably weak. Maybe they had Feraligatr, but good game. Getting into the next game, we got a Gliscor on the lead, Shadow Gliscor. I haven't seen one of these in a while, but I love seeing it. It's got Wing Attack, so I am a little bit nervous here about having to deal with something like Night Slash. But the opponent makes a very nice catch onto a Golisopod. They're going to eat this Icy Wind. I'm going to get a little bit of energy back before swapping out so that I can get closer to an Ice Beam or an Icy Wind, and then I'm going to come in with Lickilicky, and this is just an oppressively good matchup for Lickilicky, where I can actually just completely abuse this Golisopod for energy, and then if the opponent decides that they want to switch out, we definitely can make the switch clock, like, we can either wait out our switch clock with the Body Slam spam, or we honestly I don't even need that because they decided to switch later. So we're going to be able to get the rollout down here and have a ton of energy. We're able to win switch. Now I can just go for it. Like, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, if they switch back out and not let me get the energy I want, then I'm just going to be able to go for a bunch of body slams, and I'm going to be able to neutralize the Gliscor, force shields, eat up my switch timer if I have to. The opponent does end up shielding, and then they go for a move. If this isn't the Earthquake, it's not going to knock out. And that's the major thing here, is I'm trying to keep this Gliscor as far away from my Virizion as absolutely possible, especially now knowing that they have Aerial Ace. I am not going to be able to... I thought I wasn't going to be able to. The opponent lets that go. Maybe they didn't attack here, trying to get the farm on their Ninetales. Now, the Ninetales is going to come in, and I'm going to go for the Icy Wind bait. I want to nuke the attack of this Alolan Ninetales. I was thinking about getting to a second move, but I figure instead of giving the Ninetales the farm, the best thing to do here would be to go into my Virizion. Now, this is where I make that mistake. If you're playing Virizion, Leaf Blade does slightly more damage than Sacred Sword for the same energy. So if both are neutral, you should do not what I'm doing and throw the Leaf Blade instead. The Leaf Blade probably would have knocked out here, and we would have been able to win the game outright, but we're still going to be able to take it because the opponent was not going to be able to survive 2 moves, and that's a good game. Getting into the next game against an opponent that I recognize, Slitter, super skilled trainer, and we got a Malamar lead here. So I'm going to do something very similar to what I did in the last game, and I'm just going to try to play this out a little bit. In this game, I decide instead of swapping, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in and let them go for their first foul play, and then I'm going to bait as though I had the Shadow Ball, hoping to get a shield from this opponent. And if they shield, that's fine, because the attack's been lowered. Now I'm going to try to catch a foul play on my Licky, but it doesn't work out for me. They do throw the superpower here, I'm pretty sure, as they waited long enough to do so. That is the superpower, and the opponent comes in with a Tentacruel. We're going to get this one, too. It's Earthquake time, baby. How much damage does this do to the Shadow Tentacruel? Earthquake is going to do a ton of damage, and this thing is just going on a rampage. Opponent is able to get to a move here, and I'm fine letting this go. If I get to this body slam, I can chip it down, but also I'm actually, like, I was thinking about not throwing and then getting the farm on Drifblim, but I realized that I'm probably gonna have to shield my Drifblim anyway if it happens that way, so I just decided to go for the body slam to be safe about it, get one more move on my Drifblim, and that's gonna put me even closer after the Malamar just threw its energy. I'm very close to a move, and I'll easily be able to get to a move before the Malamar is gonna be able to pace to the next foul play. So now I'm gonna go for Icy Wind, and I'm gonna swap right into my Virizion, and the opponent has a Feraligatr in the back, and they recognize the game is over. Well played, good game. Getting into the next game, Drifblim versus a Giratina Altered. Gonna see what move they have first here. And they actually decide to swap immediately out, and I see a Walrein safe swap, and I'm like, wait a minute, what do I do? I can't really reliably come in with Virizion because they do have an energy lead, and that would be very uncomfortable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play out this matchup with my Licky instead, and they're just going to keep going for Icicle Spears, and unfortunately for me, at this point, I think I'm starting to lose count because I thought that maybe they had just thrown the Icicle Spear as soon as they got it there, but they're actually doing a very good job of managing timing and energy here, and they're going to be able to get to another Icicle Spear here if I throw one more rollout. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I just go and go for a shield here, and I'm just going to try and go for a couple more rollouts, throw the body slam, you know, have shield advantage, or not shield, but shield parity and energy. I was hoping to go for that farm down, but I wasn't able to get it. So now I have to decide, do I want to waste the shield or not? I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to get the farm on my Drifblim, and we're going to see what the opponent has in the back. They have a Greninja, and immediately I bring in my Virizion, and they bring in with a Giratina, and I'm like, you know what? I lost alignment. That's all I needed to win this game, and I kind of messed it up. So good game. Next game is a Shiny Flex. Primarina on the lead. They have the Charm, so this is going to hurt. I'm chunking through my Drifblim here. I'm going to go for the Icy Wind here when they get up to the Shadow Ball, because I figure I'm probably going to get a shield out of this thing, and then I'm going to swap into my Lickilicky with a shield advantage to try and make some magic happen. I'm going to go for the Body Slam right away to once again try and stall that switch timer a little bit. And this is going to be solid because not only are we stalling with one move, we're stalling with 2 moves. So now if the opponent decides they want to swap in, I have almost half my switch clock now to put whatever I want on this Lickilicky. So now I'm actually watching my switch timer. I'm getting a ton of energy here, hoping that maybe they throw to chip me. But I can come in with my Virizion here, and I can just load up on energy against this Lickilicky, have a Leaf Blade ready for when the Primarina comes back in, and Drifblim is still healthy enough to handle, but I really have to I really have to give it to Virizion here. We have shields up. I'm hoping that I might be able to do something. I had a 1-turn delay on that. I should have won charge attack priority. The opponent's going for Earthquakes also. Definitely want to go for Body Slam there, unless maybe they're running like Earthquake Solar Beam would be the only other reason I would think they would want to go for Earthquake there. But what I mean, I've been surprised by somebody running some crazy stuff before. Now, once again, I make the mistake. I should be going for Leaf Blades here, but for some reason, my brain says Zapdos, super double resist. I don't know why I thought double resist on Leaf Blade. It's not correct. It's not like flying in fire. It's flying in electric. But that was my mistake. I keep going for Sacred Swords here when I shouldn't, but we're just going to try to let Virizion finish this game up, and even if it doesn't, we have the Drifblim. Lickilicky's got some energy, so we're going to be able to go for, again, I keep wanting to say we go for the Leaf Blade because that's the better move, but my stupid self keeps going for Sacred Swords. And think about the difference in damage here. I probably could have just gone for Leaf Blades and KO'd, but I wanted to go for the Earthquake against the Zapdos, but I didn't actually think I had enough. I forgot how much energy I had, but straight 2 4-1 sets with this team. This team actually feels like a really strong meta team. This isn't just some stuff I cobbled together because I thought it was cool. This is definitely like a team that could be used for climbing. Lickilicky is just a fantastic Pokemon in this meta right now, and Drifblim and Virizion make a really strong core. And you could also, you know, use Cobalion over Virizion if you wanted to. You could probably even get away with maybe like, there's a check it out on PvPoke if you want to get something instead of Virizion, but I think this team is extremely solid, very, very good in this meta, and that's going to do it for me for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.